Good morning, everyone. Hope everything's going well for you, and hope everything is doing great this early this morning or late this afternoon if you're watching later. All right, let's grab our Bibles and turn to the 29th Psalm. Back to the 29th Psalm. Just confess, I feel like I've done a lousy job explaining this psalm from beginning to end. But I hope that these last two verses will bring it all together and make up for my failures in the previous couple of lessons. And a lot of symbolism, a lot of things going on in this psalm that make it difficult to explain real quickly. And so I just apologize for that, but I will hopefully we can make up for today, because the last two verses are what we might call the icing on the cake, the bow, as David finishes up here this psalm where he's talked about storms and waters, and he finishes up with these words: "The Lord sitteth upon the flood, yea, the Lord sitteth king forever." So after this description that he's given of the storms and what's going on, and again the storms kind of symbolic of the raging of man. He says then in this verse, he says, "The Lord sitteth upon the flood." Now, that word flood right there is a really important word because it refers back to Noah's flood. And the reason we know that, obviously, I mean, there are other floods. There are floods still today. But the reason we know that is that it refers to Noah's flood is because there is a Hebrew word for flood that is only used to refer to Noah's flood. In fact, this is the only place, the only verse in the Bible where this same word is used in Genesis chapter 7 through 11, where the story of the flood is told. So we know that David is referring here back to the flood of Noah. And why that's significant is because obviously that is the single greatest uh, destruction that has ever taken place. We've had a lot of natural disasters and things that have occurred throughout history, but that is the most damaging. Obviously, it flooded the whole earth. It killed everything that wasn't in the ark. And so it is the most extreme example of a weather catastrophe that we have. And David says the Lord sits upon that flood. And so, again, one of the other things about that, again, we know that the flood was a act of judgment. And so two things that we see there again is that when the greatest catastrophe that David knew of, that mankind knows of to this day occurred, the Lord in that image of sitting upon it is saying that he was over it. He was in control. Even at that point, the flood was not in control. God was in control, and that he sits as king forever, and so that God rules over these things is what David, again, this is kind of hopefully the bow for us to bring my rambling thoughts previously together, that David is saying that even in the most catastrophic events, that God sits on the throne. And then the real beauty of this verse is then in verse 11 when he says that the Lord will give strength unto his people, the Lord will bless his people with peace. And so he says that God sits on on the flood. He's over all. He is in control, but that the Lord then gives strength to His people, and so that He is even in a time of in the greatest catastrophe that has ever occurred in history. David says God took care of His people. That He took care of His people, that He blessed His people with peace. And so, just as Noah and his family could face this disaster with peace, with strength, because they were safe in the ark and God was protecting them. He's saying that in spite of the storm, that if we back up, that destroyed the cedars of Lebanon, that the waters that thunder, even all the way to the greatest catastrophe that has ever happened to man, to this earth, God still provides and takes care of His people. He gives them strength and to endure the storm, and peace to calm us during the storm. And so that image of strength and peace are two great things that David is writing about here. In spite of this tremendous storm. And so I want to kind of walk away today with two lessons that I think we draw from this text, and one of them, well, I'm not going to say that. I'll take that back. First of all, obviously David is addressing the people of Israel. In this verse. And so, first of all, the very first application that I would make to this psalm is that God is going, He has, He will, He is taking care of the nation of Israel. Many people have learned that the hard way. I still today, I kind of chuckle to myself every time I hear one of these Middle East countries talking about wiping out Israel, and I just kind of chuckle to myself, and at the very thought of this. Again, many people have they've thought that for a lot of times over the years, and again throughout history, we know how Satan has come against the people of Israel. Again, whether it was Germany, whether it's been Iran, just throughout the Middle East, every country there. If you look at a map, and Israel's just this little dot surrounded on all sides, either by enemies or ocean. And yet they have survived. God will take care of the nation of Israel. And again, country after country, world leader after world leader has came against Israel and tried to destroy them. And we know that ultimately, that in the end, that Jesus Christ will come and He's going to rule and reign. And so ultimately, we know that this passage, based on New Testament promises, is fulfilled. But then I think, secondly, we can take those last two verses and this psalm, and as followers of Jesus Christ, I think we can take this statement that the Lord will give strength to His people and peace to His people. We are called, if you're a child of God, if you know Jesus Christ personally, you are a son of God. You are a part of His family. You are a joint heir with Jesus Christ. And so He promises us, I believe, this strength and peace too. Now, I'm not equating, I'm not saying Christians are the new Israel or anything along those lines. I'm just saying, we can take, and we know that that the New Testament, that it is written specifically to the church, promises people peace, promises us strength. And so just as Noah was safe when he entered into the ark, and the ark that Noah was in is a symbol, a type of Christ. When we as believers, we are safe in Jesus Christ. And so we have the promise of His strength and His peace. It was John Phillips who wrote on this passage, on this last verse, says the Lord will give strength to His people and the Lord will bless His people with peace. He says that's like the rainbow at the end of the storm, that God offers us the peace and strength in the midst of our storm. And so as we wrap up this psalm, again, I hope this morning those two verses kind of make up for my bumbling and stumbling through the first 8 or 9 verses. And you might say I bumbled and stumbled through these two, but I believe there's a great lesson for us there that even I can't mess up. That no matter the storm you're facing, no matter what you're against, the Lord sits on the flood, and He promises us strength and peace if we are His children. He doesn't promise, notice, He doesn't promise that the flood won't be there, but He promises strength and peace during the flood. Don't know what you're facing, don't know what you're up against, don't know what this week holds for you, but I know that our God still reigns. Hope that helps you. Hope that helps you make it through the stormy days that life throws at you. All right, have a great day. We'll see you back here tomorrow morning.